While we have homeless people that need help, and we have a housing crisis and an opioid crisis, and our legislature simply does not reflect the working class, and that is what I'm going to change as governor. Woo! And if you look into it, as I did, you will discover that 80% of all of our state reps and all of our senators are rich and or retired. It's not democracy. It's plutocracy ruled by the rich, or it is gerontocracy ruled by the elderly. But I'm not okay with that. Are you?
There's the man himself right there.
I've been running a restaurant for about 9 years, and while I've been running a restaurant, I have been in the New York Town Council, ZBA, and a bunch of other boards in town. Right? It's kind of a no-brainer, right? So yeah, I mean, it was kind of the only way I could think of that, like, we could get the money without taxing anybody fresh, you know? Anything else? Oh yeah, I mean, I got a bunch of other plans. That's kind of the main one. I also want to use that money to boost the apprenticeship with vocational schools so that they can start building tiny homes for homeless people, you know, veterans and stuff. That's beautiful. Anything just to get property. You know, like for instance, most places in the state you can't buy an acre of land, pitch a tent, and live there. Yeah. That's illegal, which is crazy because then you have people just living in tents in the city. You know what I mean?
Jon Kiper.
Excited about with the campaign? What's the most exciting thing, do you think?
Housing.
With the campaign?
Politics. He hasn't said this, but I'm pretty sure we're his favorite band. So
I was gonna say, what's the name of the band again?
Backyard Aquarium.
Backyard Aquarium, love it. Are you both in the band, or what's the deal here? What's that? Huge fans? Nice. And huge fans of Jon Kiper as well? Yes. Sweet, love it. Thanks, guys.
We met through a mutual friend, actually. I have a friend who's a journalist and a foodie, and he goes through Jon's restaurant a lot. And Jon was telling him he wanted to run for governor, and my friend said, "You gotta meet Amanda Bolden."
Awesome.
He's really smart, he's open-minded, he wants to hear all perspectives and kind of come up with a solution that works for the most people possible. He actually has, I think, a lot of the attributes that drew people to Trump without being an asshole.
Yeah.
Our current political climate, being authentic, being relatable, and being honest with people, he's not full of this. He's 41 years old, he's a millennial, so he's not out there trying to control people and live their private lives. He wants people to thrive. Doing rock and roll shows for campaign events instead of like stuffy wine and cheese events at some rich person's house.
Right.
And it's high time that the people running government in New Hampshire, or really anywhere, actually reflected the issues and the values and the age range of the people that really should be involved in politics. But the fact that the voters who turn out are overwhelmingly older and elderly shows that the people in power are only speaking to that audience. And if we just keep relying on, what is it that Jon says, if we keep relying on rich people to solve working class problems, we're never going to have them solved.
Absolutely.
Jon Kiper for governor,
Absolutely.
definitely.
So one of the reasons why I'm running, there's a number of them, but one of the reasons why I'm running is because I realized after serving on the Newmarket Town Council that I really wanted to change the way New Hampshire operated and change the systems of government, modernize our systems. And I discovered something pretty quickly, which is that the state representatives and the senators of New Hampshire are only paid $100 a year. Did you all know that? $100 a year. As a result, most working class people like me and like most of us here cannot afford to drive to Concord 3 or 4 times a week for 6 months out of the year. And this is the part that really got me, okay? When I looked into it, New Hampshire is the only state that does it that way. Every other state, all 49 of them, pay their legislature. They pay the state reps and they pay the senators. And when you look at New Hampshire and you look at the states around us, Maine, Vermont, Massachusetts, why are we always different? Why is our legislature always doing things like worrying about whether or not you can have a kangaroo for a pet? Now, it's really important that you understand this is going to be a monumentally difficult task.
Oh, yeah.
Because what we have to do is convince the state reps to vote to give themselves a raise. And they don't want to do that. Do you know why? Because it would be harder for them to run for re-election if people like me could run against them. And they like their power, okay? And we need to all wake up to a simple fact. If only rich and retired people can serve, and there are a few working class people that make it work, but their numbers are very small. If only the rich and the retired are running our state, this is not democracy, folks. So I just want you to remember these 3 things and 1 date, okay? And tell everyone that you know this. The state reps are only paid $100 a year. We're the only state that does it that way. 80% of them are rich or retired, okay? And on September 10th, you can vote for me in the Democratic primary, okay? September 10th, do not forget that date. It's gonna be very important. I'm gonna bring that date up and I'm gonna bring those 3 things up again. But we've got another band on, so I'm not gonna talk too long because I don't wanna bore you guys with all this stuff, all right? Yeah. Honeybees? Is the honeybees up next? Yeah, we got the honeybees coming up. We got a round of applause for the honeybees.
Yeah. How did you guys hear about Jon Kiper?
Local community members supporting his cause and what he stands for.
Johnny Boston.
Johnny Boston's, that's right. Love
It's a
it.
great restaurant in Newmarket, New Hampshire.
Awesome.
I love that he cares about people that are less fortunate, especially the homeless. We need a governor that thinks in those terms.
Absolutely.
The same town, he's got a restaurant in town, so.
So September 10th is the date that I'd love for you to put in your phone right now or have your significant other put in their phone. Ask for a Democratic ballot because I'm running as a Democrat in New Hampshire. And this is why what I'm doing is actually possible, okay? Because New Hampshire votes for the presidential primary in January, when we vote for the governor's primary in September, nobody shows up. So this year, if everyone shows up and you get all of your friends, I only need, it's a 3-way race, okay? I only need like maybe 50,000 votes. That is not a lot of votes, ladies and gentlemen. There are 70,000 registered Democrats in Rockingham County alone, okay? Here's the thing, you don't have to be a Democrat to vote in the Democratic primary in New Hampshire. You can be an unaffiliated independent voter. Remember, you can vote in the primary and your friends can too, and it's really important that we show up and let the establishment Democrats of this state and the establishment Republicans know that we want democracy in New Hampshire. Because we're not going to get the housing we need, we're not going to get the solutions to the opioid crisis we need, we're not going to get the solutions to the environmental crisis until we have a paid legislature that takes their jobs as a serious occupation and not just a hobby to do when you are retired. All right, cool. I want to say again, I appreciate so much all of you guys showing up for democracy. It's so important. I want to thank all the bands that have played and all the bands that are about to play.
Yeah!
Does anyone have any questions for me?
So what's the plan to build the housing?
Good question. Great question. So what I would like to do is take cannabis and legalize it and sell it the same way that the state of New Hampshire sells liquor, okay? And take all the profit, it would probably be $200 to $300 million, and put it into housing through the New Hampshire Housing Authority. And also, I want to take that money and boost our apprenticeship and our vocational schools, and to have the people in those schools, the students, literally building tiny homes for homeless people. And if you see any of the other candidates running for governor, I ask you to do two things. One, ask them if they agree that we should pay the reps, and two, ask them what their housing plan is, okay? Because I think if you go on the website to the Democrats or the Republicans running for governor, you will find what I found, which is not a lot. And given that housing is such an important part of all of our lives, it affects everyone, and it affects the economy, it affects whether or not you've got money to go see a live band. If you're spending 60, 70% of your income on rent or mortgage, you don't have money for that. It's killing the local economy, and we need to make sure that we hold our politicians accountable, okay? We've got to hold them accountable, or else they're not going to listen. And how do we hold them accountable? Show up at the ballot box September 10th, okay?
Seems like got less time.
A lot of things resonate with me. I understand that something needs to be done about housing, so I appreciate the things he's saying about it. They make me hopeful.